Hello, and welcome to another episode of Myths and Stories, a Destiny 2 lore podcast. Today, we're going to be taking a look through all of the various lore cards that are attached to the weapons and armor that have come to us new with the final shape. And to be specific, we are not going to be looking at the weapons and armor that came with the episode. Uh, a lot of the like Vex stuff, the stuff in the season pass, all of that is going to be saved for its own season specific talk. This is all things that came with Final Shape, the expansion only. There's also going to be, in particular, two ships that we're not going to talk about in this episode. They will be discussed as part of our raid episode, which I believe will be the next one. Um, but going through some of the exotics and even the legendaries that came to us with Final Shape, there's a lot of really interesting little short stories. A lot of these are moments in time, focused on a particular character. Some of them we know, some of them we have not met before. Uh, and just kind of give a general vibe check to the Destiny universe as to what people are thinking, feeling, doing in this time period of great calamity that is the Final Shape.
Yeah. What does the end of the world look like from the inside of the epicenter of the end of the world?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're going to start off with the exotic weapons and then move into the legendary weapons and then exotic armor and then legendary armor and then finish off with there's a sparrow and a ghost that we're going to kind of end things with. But without further ado, we're going to begin with the exotic weapons, starting with the Red Death Reformed. Um, a little bit of a info about the original Red Death from Destiny 1 is the flavor text on it was that Vanguard policy uh, requires Guardians destroy this weapon on site, was the original Red Death. And so now, presumably, it was destroyed at some point canonically because it's now been reformed. I
Haha, clever naming scheme.
ah,
This is like the new Nintendo 3DS. Like you can't.
yeah, yeah, same vibe for sure.
Yeah.
But the flavor text for this says Vanguard policy still urges Guardians to destroy this weapon on
Damn
site.
it. Give
Uh,
a give a guardian something to shoot with. Give him some loot and tell him, "Oh wait, no, this is bad. Don't do this." And they will continue to do so.
yeah, they're gonna ignore that real quick. But what we get here is an interesting little uh, description of how and kind of why Red Death was rebuilt. So, the lore card for this goes like this. First is disassembly, taking extra caution for the well-honed bayonet. After disassembly comes cleaning. She gathers the swabs, the oils, the corrosive agents. Red Death clings to the grime of its past battles. She scrapes it with a spin metal wool for hours before the last signs of the skulls stenciled into the body finally vanish. The team had taken the butcher down before he'd added a mark for Seto, light of her light. The weapon's tally is one short. Even reduced to pieces, the Red Death is a malevolent presence. It knows its purpose. It wants to continue its work. After cleaning comes purification. She reassembles the weapon and cradles it as though to a fire, and her light boils up, turning radiant. The flare of solar light is the advent of warmth after a cold night, the healing power of life itself. Wings spread high on her back and paint scorch marks along the ceiling. In her arms, red death glows red, and then yellow, and then white. It fights the change, but she does not let go. Its shadows burn away, one by one, until none are left. After purification comes dedication. Slowly, she lets go of her light. Wings flicker and fade, and then red death is cold metal in her hands once more, and a kernel of solar light lingers within, its purpose made new. She will find those who strip guardians of their final life. She will bring them into the light, not for revenge, but for justice. For Seto. And that's the end of that one.
I don't know if you got the same vibe from this, but holy shit, that was hot. I was like,
Literally, yes.
and the charging handle stayed on. Like, whoo, whoo, lordy,
uh,
lordy. this is that was insanely intimate. I've never cleaned a gun that way, and now I'm gonna start cleaning all my guns this way.
no, you just never had like, the solar phoenix wings burst from your back as you're cleaning again?
Nope,
No? Yeah.
nope. In a sheer state of ecstasy, I don't know. This is hot, myth. This is this is a very intimate way to clean a gun. Uh, so what's okay? So I guess my only question here is like, what's the deal with like the purification? Uh, I mean, from the surface level, it seems like this gun has a level of sentience to it somehow. Um, and
Yeah.
maybe it's just like a a poetic way of saying like this is every time this thing does it seems like this is a gun that is delivering final deaths.
Yes. And that is so the original Red Death doesn't give us a whole lot of like info in the grimoire card for it. It doesn't name any names, it doesn't like indicate anything. It does list that it is a guardian killer.
Okay.
And it says only rumors tell of the mad guardian who fashioned this butcher's tool, but its power is undeniable and fear is a formidable weapon. So that's
Okay.
that's the original grimoire
I mean,
card from it.
I guess that would help inform us of like why the Vanguard fear this weapon. They're like, disassemble it, like destroy it, like get rid of it. But here we're having like a purification. I'm assuming the other Guardian mentioned here is well either Guardian or Ghost. I'm not sure which is being named here.
Yeah.
Was something that was delivered a final death by way of this weapon, and now this new Guardian is like, okay, I'm going to try to cleanse it and purify it and make it to where like I can use this weapon for good now.
Yeah, I think that is kind of the well, good is maybe a loose term in this case. Uh, but I think that that's the intention of like I'm gonna take this weapon that was wielded by some unknown butcher of guardians, uh, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to scrape away its history of being a guardian killer. Literally like took spin metal, steel wool kind of thing, and rubbed at it for hours until it cleared away all of the signs of the like skull iconography that was stenciled into the original, and the tally marks that apparently were carved into it for each guardian it killed. Uh, and
I mean, she
like,
could have just taken a grinder. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I don't know, doing steel wool. That's a long time. I
it's a
mean,
long
essentially, what's
time.
happening here? She is hand sanding all this shit off. Like,
Yes,
that's going to take a second.
but so like kind of scrub away the past, and then yeah, this purification I think is might be more in a spiritual sense, but it does seem like perhaps this is a gun that has a similar, not source because it's not a weapon of sorrow, but a similar like identity in people's minds to something like Thorn.
Sure. That was the vibes I was getting. Well, and I'm curious too. Was the original one a solar weapon? Because I was curious if she is turning it into a solar weapon. For some reason, I'm remembering it being a kinetic, and the fact that she is like pouring this is the reason why it's solar, because she made it a solar weapon.
Yes, it was kinetic. You're right.
Okay. So then this is the reason why it is solar now, is because a guardian literally went through some type of ritual or something and like
Yep.
made it solar.
Instilled it with light.
Yeah. Yeah. Made it for good, sort of, maybe. Don't know.
Well, I think the good portion is being used as the excuse for yeah, like it says, not for revenge, for justice.
Yeah.
Which, depending on
History's
who you're
always
talking
told
to,
from exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but interestingly enough, we know nothing about this guardian, this kind of weapon smith type guardian. We don't know who Seto is. Their name does not appear in any other record, as far as I can find, other than this one.
No Banshee apprentice going on right now.
Yeah, nothing that I've seen in another lore card anywhere.
Interesting.
Which on one hand could just be a little off, a little aside of like, hey, here's, something terrible happened, but the original owner, the butcher, that owned Red Death was taken down, and now that's why this gun is back in circulation. I I'm kind of hoping it's the beginning of another little mini story, like
Yeah.
we'll see more from this particular guardian and learn more about Seto. The only description being, yeah, that Seto is the light of her light. That could be a ghost. That could be, another guardian. That could be like a lover or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is a fun starting point if it does become a story, and I kind of hope it does.
Me too. And it's not it's funny every time I hear the butcher, you know exactly where
Yes, not the
my
Diablo
mind
butcher.
connects. And I'm just like, wait a second. Are we crossing franchises here? Is this what
Not
we're
quite.
gonna start having fighting demons and angels and shit now? Like I'm not opposed to this, but
Hey,
this is an odd
if they
swap for
if they
Destiny.
had like a super hard boss that just randomly appeared in lost sectors every now and then,
Oh my
that
god, dude!
like
No,
guaranteed an
in middle
exotic
of
or something.
raids,
No,
middle of
oh boy.
raids. Can you imagine the level of chaos of like you're doing a transition from like one bot, like you're in the jumping puzzle after Golgoroth, and all of a sudden there's a boss like shitting all over you while you're trying to make these jumps and avoid these boopers, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening in here? But then he dies, and you get like this super cool exotic or something like that, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, neat.
yeah. No, that would be kind of cool, but not the same butcher in this case.
Not the same. Sad
Uh,
face.
but no. So that's going to take us next to the Kvastov. The the legendary version of the Kvastov and the exotic both have the same lore card. Uh, so we're gonna be looking at the exotic version, but just know they aren't two different ones. And this one's kind of interesting. So it is a telling from our ghost's perspective in their search for us. Or at least presumably our ghost. I think that is what makes the most sense, especially it being the Kvastov. So the flavor text here is, you don't know how long I've been looking for you, which I do believe are like the first, I think that's in like that first couple lines that our ghost tells us upon resurrection.
Yeah, especially that where they start talking about how like talking about the speaker and the history I guess the most recent history of Destiny
Yeah.
in that little opening cutscene. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So this gives a little play-by-play of some of the uh, things that they've been going through in that search for us. Because remember, timeline-wise, we were resurrected. VIP 2014 was resurrected in the beginning of Destiny 1, which is, according to Petra, what was it, 1600 years?
At least.
After the collapse, which means our ghost has been searching for roughly 1600 years to find us.
That's a long time.
Yeah, yeah. They had to find a hobby or something during that time.
Some
Um,
of them turned into dreadlords.
yes, yes, they did. But we have just a couple glimpses of some of the years leading up to that. So this one goes like this: Day 1. The world is dead, but there's peace in the mortuary silence. I am born into this dead world where dandelions grow up through layers of ash, blanketing miles of desolate road. Day 673. There's a stretch of land, a canyon through which water once flowed, a canal cut into the earth, bristling with derelict ships and countless dead. Flowers bloom in many desiccated carcasses. Each component of this world's decomposition has a purpose. Water flows, cities decay, flowers bloom, yet still I search for mine. Day 1857. Oceans are vast, lonely expanses. Though life flourishes in the depths, it is not life that I am looking for. I thrive on death, search for death. Perhaps my purpose lies below the water, but it's dark and lonely, and I don't want to look there yet. Not when there's so much more horizon in front of me. Day 6231. I was careless, and someone shot me from across the way, across a field. The bullet only chipped my shell, but it spun me around and left me shaken. I don't know who they were, or even why I was targeted. I played dead, and no one came for me. I laid in the tall grass for 9 days. It rained on the 5th. I acquainted myself with the ants. They are survivors. Day 36,725. This world is dead, but life is threatening a return. I don't know when I'll ever fulfill my purpose, but I know what I am. I am a ghost haunting the grave of humanity, a ghost with a calling. And that's the end of that one.
So significant time jumps here. I mean, the first one is like day one, which is the 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 day of the collapse.
Yeah,
uh, from that to like day 600 something, like that's 2.5 years later. Like, okay, they're still searching. Like, that's a good chunk of time, 2.5 years. And then it's like day 1,000. Okay, we're getting some jumps here. Then like day 6,000. Oh my. Day 36,000. Like, oh shit.
yeah. So,
Yeah, significant time jumps.
big time jumps. And for those wondering,
You knew I was gonna
36,725
ask.
days is 100 years, 6 months, and 18 days.
So at least
So
at least a century.
at least a century and still not even close to when
Yeah,
they found us.
1/16 of the way there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that really is like holy shit. Okay, yeah. Long jumps of time are hard for the human mind to like equate.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you go to
Yeah.
history class and they're like, in such and such time, this is the Egyptians. The next thing we'll talk about is the Roman age. And you're like, okay, and like it doesn't feel like that's like 700 years apart from each other. Like that's it's what 8, 9, 10 human lifespans across the yeah no.
Yeah.
Um, but the two parts that just kind of made me laugh. One was the fact that it was a ghost was not not at first willing to look in the ocean, but knows that like, hey, I could go down there and look, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
And so that means that like potentially some guardian has been rezzed at the bottom of the ocean. So we may have like Titanic survivors running
Hey,
around
yeah,
as guardians right now, which A, they were drowned and crushed to death as they were coming to the surface.
multiple times,
Like, what the fuck, ghosts? I mean, I guess some of them have been possibly rezzed in the vacuum of space.
right? Yeah,
Like, I mean, Guardians have canonically for us for VIP 2014, everyone's rezzed in the Cosmodrome. Like, we're rezzed in that field of cars that was like the last push to try to get to the Exodus ships to get off before the world ended. Um, but yeah, like the fact that this ghosts look everywhere. They look all over the solar system. Like it blows my mind to think that how some of these guardians have come to existence. I mean, they've gone even as far as the Dreaming City to like Res Uldren. Like, yeah, it
yeah.
like that. It truly blows my mind where Ghost will go look. The second one that made me giggle was just this ghost contemplating ants.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
like, did this ghost honestly possibly think of resing an ant as a guardian? I want to see an ant guardian wielding the light. Because now remember, ants can lift like 600 times their own body weight
yeah.
naturally. Like, fuck me, give that thing light. Screw that. That's not happening.
Now I don't think he was contemplating giving them light, but the fact that
I
they
don't think so either.
survived the apocalypse is like, okay, like life can go on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like these are resilient creatures, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the fact that it like sat and waited for like 9 days,
Dazed, yeah.
like I mean that's again another testament to like I will survive. I will continue on. I know my purpose. I will keep looking. Ghosts are resilient little shits.
They are. They absolutely are. Uh but so that brings us to our next exotic, and that is everyone's favorite this expansion and this season, especially now. Still Hunt.
It's not broken at all.
No,
I don't
not at
know what
all.
you're talking about. It didn't get insanely busted this last Tuesday. I
No, no, of course not.
Nobody's using this for damage on anything. Nobody's one phasing random raid bosses with it. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
But so Still Hunt's flavor text just says there are too many ways to kill someone who needs killing. Uh, and the lore card for it goes like this. Cade 6 spends the first night of his rebirth staring at the man who murdered him. The prince he once knew as Aldrin lies with his back to Cade, head on his arm, cushioned by soft grass, under a sky without stars. Granite boulders are scattered like vast marbles, nestled among the tall prairie grasses. A safe, silent valley, born in the moment of their arrival. Time had grown oily without the familiar cycles of Earth, and after hours of half conversations and stunted questions, the other man had excused himself to rest. Aldrin sleeps soundly, vulnerable. Cade leans back against a boulder, arms crossed in the half shadow of the fire between them. An impulse curls through him, dark and wild. It would only take a moment. He could put a shot straight through the ghost shell, then improvise a garrote with a handful of prairie grass and strangle the man while looking him dead in the eye. Or crush the ghost with his hands, stand tall and powerful over the sleeping figure, and relive his own death from his killer's perspective. Better yet, he could capture the ghost, set the man free, and hunt him in furious pursuit. Cade flinches and looks up to see his murderer's ghost hovering in place, watching him, illuminated by the flickering coals of a dying fire, a motionless, protective stance. Cade narrows his eyes. His hand slowly moves to his gun. Ghost and Exo stare through one another. The man beneath the ghost stirs but does not wake. And then, in one fluid motion, the ghost glides past his guardian's cheek, silently approaching Cade. It draws close. I'm sorry about Sundance, whispers the ghost. Cade stills at her name. His hands and his gaze drop to the ground, pinned there now by a heavy shame. Thanks, is all he can muster. He looks at the sleeping man nestled on the grass of the inside of a god and sees nothing of Aldrin. Crow, Cade reminds himself. That's Crow. And that's the end of that one.
Oh, oh, my heart, myth. This is good. This is a good one. I think some people that are listening out there need to take heed of this. Like maybe Crow isn't so bad. Just saying. Yeah. This is. I mean, I get it. It. I don't know why I thought about this while you were reading that, but canonically, when Queen Mara sent Uldren off on the Wish, that happened. Like, in game we had a 6-month time jump
Right.
because obviously Bungie needed a little bit more time to cook, and that's fine. But like canonically, uh, they've been Ultron and or Crow. See, I even did it. Crow and Cade have been chilling together for 6 months
Yeah.
inside the Traveler. Like from the moment that Cade was reborn. I put that in quotations. Ripped from the afterlife by way of Ahamkara is a more apt way of describing it.
Right.
Uh, is the exact same moment that Crow that one cutscene where Crow like falls out of the like he just kind of appears on the Pale Heart side of the Traveler portal
Mm-hmm.
and is like falling and then like saves himself with his little hunter jump right at the end as all hunters do, and then it instantly goes into a gunfight with Cade,
Yeah.
and then that little scene plays out, and then it's like 6 months later we join, like we find a way in, like Mara establishes the connection and we find a way in. So yeah, like to think that there are times where like the two of them probably had it out, like had full on arguments and just was like, hey, fuck you, you killed me, this is bullshit. Like, because even playing through some of the story missions too, and specifically the story missions where you're obtaining this gun from, they have this little back and forth banter, like they've been around for a hot second.
Yeah.
And then the one mission, the I think it's Ascent, where you're climbing the ice wall,
Mm-hmm.
and Crow finally admits like, hey, this is why you're back, and I'm sorry. Like I didn't realize how detrimental this would be to you. Um, but during that back and forth, they're even like playing with each other, like, hey, who put who on whose back? Like,
Yeah.
and it's this playful like, come on, old man, let's go. Like it really did like again, like a lot of people shit on Crow. Like I get it. He's the man that killed Cade. Like Crow is not. Like Uldren is the man that killed Cade. Crow is something different, and I love to see Crow's character development since then. And to see this like from the get go, even Cade is this level of like, I'm gonna kill this guy. Like
Yeah.
this guy is the reason I am the way I am right now. Like this I need to do something about it. But then to like for Glint to come over, pulled pork. He'll forever be pulled pork. I don't care what anyone says. Glint's not. He's pulled pork. When he kind of floats over and is like, "Hey, I'm sorry about Sundance." Like it. It makes me think of the line that Cade says. We're all connected. Ghosts, the light, guardians, the traveler. So pulled pork was connected to Sundance. Like
Right.
pulled
Yeah.
pork was alive when Sundance was killed. So it's like pulled pork could have felt that wave of death that washed over the reef, in that poof of light during that the original Forsaken mission. So yeah, it's ah ah
Yeah, and it's interesting
makes
to
my heart
see.
feel good.
It's also interesting to see that like I yeah, and we've known this, I suppose, but Cade has always put on this persona of the happy-go-lucky, jokester dude, and we've seen it a couple times before in some other lore cards, especially around Andal and like Andal Brask's death and Taniks and all that.
Oh yeah.
But like he's he can go dark
He
quick when he feels he
the
needs to.
the level of description here. He's like, I'm gonna make a garrote out of the fucking grass on the ground. Like, what is wrong with you?
He's seen some shit. He's lived through some
He
shit.
has seen some shit, man.
Mm.
Like, I get it, but Jesus.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see, you know, the side we see and then the side that is internal as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh
yeah. I think Cade. I think his whole life he did internalize a lot of like these really. But again, I feel like that's that's what makes a hunter. Like on the outside, they're going to be this very like lone wolf. Like I don't need help from anybody. Like whatever. But then like when shit hits the fan, like they want their fire team just as much as their fire team wants them. Like
yeah.
it's hunters are an odd breed of guardians. Um, that I'm just now recently beginning to understand more and more because let's face it, Prismatic Hunter is fucking it's cool.
It's
It's
good
so
stuff.
good. So good.
But yeah. So next one we're going to look at um is an interesting card that I will be very is one I'm looking forward to talking out a little bit. So this is the card that is on the Ergo Sum, or as I have heard others specify, I guess the Latin is Ergo Sum for the pronunciation.
Who
Uh,
speaks Latin? Who has come and like corrected you and been like, "Hey, actually in Latin it's,"
so to be fair, not
or
correcting
did Google
has not corrected me, but I have seen other content creators correct it as to what the pronunciation is.
is this is the same level of like it's not Gallarhorn, it's Yallarhorn.
It's
I mean,
there is
I
a language that has certain pronunciations, and like, yeah,
I
I
get
get
it.
it.
I get it. I do get it, but like
Yeah.
all right, pedantic sons of bitches.
So ergo sum, ergo sum, pick your poison. But regardless, the flavor text on it is just silent, silent, silent. And the lore card is a long one, and it goes like this. You are a child walking from a long and dreamless sleep. Is it still today, or have you slept into tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, until the days buried you as much as the sand? Gentle hands brush away the grains, but your voice is so soft they cannot hear you over the sound of their own heartbeats. You are a moon. You feel heavy, so heavy, but to the stargazer you hang weightless in the sky. When the stargazers call out, you do not answer. They would give themselves up for you, abandon their own dreams to chase you. You love them too much to condemn them so. You are a lighthouse keeper. You are watching over a sleepy coastal village as the storm clouds roll in, and you are flashing the signal lantern faster and faster and brighter, but they do nothing. You are trapped on an island in a tower, signaling desperately that it is coming, and still they do not run. They are going to die, and if you do not run, you will die too. You are leaning out over the ocean. Sometimes the fish brush against your fingers and believe that they have felt the divine. Sometimes the tide recedes, and the fish do not know you except by your absence. And today you strive with all your might to reach the water because it is here. the dark shadow of the shark parting the water like a knife, and you cannot warn them, but you must. You must try. You cannot bear to lose even one more. You are carrying a tower of books. If you recite one title each second, you would not finish before the heat death of the universe. And every year, every day, every minute, its hands add more to the pile. A man reaches for one of the books, for you, and you want so very badly to reach back, to take his hand and tell him that you must bear it just like he must, forever, the memory engraved in quartz. But your hands are full. You are a prisoner. The cage is so small you can barely breathe. He screams at you to share your gift. You would not give it to anyone who thought of it as so. It is a burden, a terrible weight that you have already asked too many to bear, to be crushed by. You could say all this and more, but you do not. You are reaching over a chasm into which countless paths feel like arteries. You are trying to reach the people on the other side, but you cannot bridge the gap alone. You watch them turn one after another to walk down, down, down into the abyss until it consumes them entirely. You are as surprised as anyone else when one of those wanderers comes back up to the path, still reeking of decay, and reaches back to you. You are drowning. The water roils, dragging you down, and you are tired, so tired. The deep, dark ocean has gotten into your lungs, droplets of ink dispersing in silver blood. This time, you think, this time it is won. But when you look up, you see a figure diving toward you, fighting their way down through the suffocating waves, reaching out, just like you've reached out to them so many times before. You have so little strength left, but you do have it. That last gasp of air in your chest. You reach back, and in your hand is a sword. And that's the end of that one.
Dude. Okay, I'm just gonna cut to the chase here. This is the Traveler.
100% the Traveler.
This is the Traveler literally telling the story of its life. Like the whole like grains of sand in a desert. That's clearly when the witnesses people found it. What was the other one that stuck out to me? Oh, the capture that you're in a cage.
Yep,
Like
that's
that was
Gaul.
clearly when Gaul
Yep.
captured the Traveler and was like, "Give me your gift." It's interesting to the light to so holy shit. Sorry, tons of thoughts are happening all at once, and I'm trying to like form sentences, and my brain is like, now. Um, it's interesting to me to see, like in that instance, where the Traveler was like, "This isn't a gift. This is a curse. Like,
Yeah.
this is crap." Like, I mean, it even described kind of the collapse that was happening. Like, there's so many things, and then like towards the end where it's literally describing the pale heart, like the winnower is here, it's drowning me, it's in my lungs, it's in my chest, like it's I am going to die, but then there's this little thing that comes back and like fights for me, and like that's us coming back through like, oh my god, dude, the symbolism here is amazing. Like this idea of like it wants to talk to us, but it doesn't know how to, and like it's hard for it to communicate with us. Like god damn, this is good. This is a good one.
Yeah. So I want to just quickly go through each section here, and kind of like identify the point in history. So yeah, you are a child waking from a long dreamless sleep, buried beneath sands, gentle hands brush away the grain. Uh, Interesting that the traveler refers to itself as a child. Meaning this must be very early into the traveler, and perhaps by correlation the universe's beginning.
That's what I'm thinking.
Like this to me says like not only were the witnesses precursor people the first to find the traveler, they may have been one of the first peoples, period.
Yeah.
But so, as you know, your voice is so soft they cannot hear you over the sound of their own heartbeats. They, even if they had the capacity to hear what the traveler was saying, it's not strong enough to like drown out their own wants for it to, to provide them with something.
Right.
Uh, then this next one, you are a moon. This could still, so on one hand, this could be fundament because it was literally described as a moon. On the other hand, this might still be uh, the precursor race
Sure.
because you hang weightless in the sky. When the stargazers call out to you, you do not answer. They would give themselves up for you, abandon their own dreams to chase you. You love them too much to condemn them so. So on one
I mean, the only thing that
hand,
would chase them would be the only thing that has chased them, I guess, would be the
right,
precursor.
right. This might be a description of the Ammonite. Like,
Sure.
this may, because we don't know much about that relationship. So it could be that the Ammonite were like ready to give up everything in lieu of whatever this god asked them to do. And the traveler's like, no, I don't want you to stop being you. Like,
Yeah.
or same logic could apply to the precursors.
Sure.
But the next one, the lighthouse keeper, I think this is Reese.
That's what
Uh,
I was thinking too.
yeah, watching over a sleepy coastal village as storm clouds roll in, flashing brighter and brighter, warning. And I think this is the traveler was trying to warn Reese. Things are coming that will end this. Run, run, run,
Yeah.
run. And Reese, the Elixni did not understand what those signs were or didn't have the ability to receive those messages. And
Like might
so,
not have had a speaker, right? Like
right.
the first instance of a speaker we see is in humanity.
Yeah. Yep. So very possible they didn't have a way to receive those messages or misinterpreted the like dream fugue state messages the traveler could
Sure,
could
sure.
transfer.
Well, and even those like those messages that the traveler was creating through those dreams, that could have been like an evolution of like how do I talk with these people?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And in those early iterations in those early years, like it didn't know, the traveler just didn't know how to do that. And so yeah, like yeah.
So, in this case, is like you're going to die if you don't run, and I'm going to die if I don't run. So, it ran.
Yep.
The next one is Earth. You are leaning out over the ocean. Sometimes the fish brush against your fingertips and believe they felt the divine. I think those are the speakers.
Okay.
Sometimes the
I was
tide
thinking literal
recedes.
fish, like
No, I don't. I think.
random fish are getting the light and they're like, "Oh my god, it's God."
No, I think this is all metaphor. Uh,
Okay.
so, but Earth is mostly ocean. So,
Sure.
I, but I think this is like the random fish are the speakers, those that can get close enough to to feel the traveler
Yep.
in that way.
Yep.
But sometimes the tide recedes. Sometimes there isn't a speaker, and the fish do not know you other than by the absence of like this ability to communicate.
Right.
And it goes, and today you strive with all your might to reach the water because it is here. So this is
That's the
like,
collapse.
yeah, this is it. It knows the collapse is coming. It knows the witness is coming, and it's almost here. And it's trying desperately to reach out to somebody to tell them, to warn them in some way. I and we see that it decides not to run. It says you cannot bear to lose even one more. uh so knowing full well that its odds were not good, it decided you know this is where this needs to stop.
Well, and that's an interesting thing too. Like this gives a definitive like the all jokes aside about Rasputin shot the traveler thing, uh, this is a definitive moment being described here, saying that the traveler, for sure, of its own will, of its own thoughts and concerns for life or whatever, it it took a stand.
Yes.
It actively said, I am going to take a stand here. And again, whether it be a leap of hope and faith of 1600 years of like, well, we'll see what happens, um, created the ghost there in that instance, to just not want to move on. And I don't. I'm still half and half on the idea of that the soul system is the final bastion. Like this is the last of the universe. There's nothing else out there. Um, only because I don't think the cabal, and I don't know why it's just the cabal that are making me think that, like, um when the collapse happened,
Cabal were still off
obviously
doing their thing when the collapse happened.
that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like the cabal and Elixni, I think, were both, like, the Vex were here, but only because, like, we were studying them and
Well,
Clovis was doing Clovis shit with
yeah.
them.
The whirlwind had happened. Like the Elixni were
Right.
in the period of the long drift at that
Yep.
point. But the
But I don't think they
Cabal,
had
as
gotten
far
the
as we know,
soul.
no, not until after the collapse.
Right.
Um, but like you're saying, the Cabal at that point, like the Cabal didn't get touched by dark or light until Callus made his connection with the dark. But all that was like
Right.
inter politics of their empire.
Right. And so,
Yeah,
like, the fact that those places existed makes me, like, I'm leaning further away from the idea that the soul system was the final place in the universe. Like, the traveler just
right.
stopped here because there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah,
Like, I'm leaning more to the idea of, like, the traveler was just sick of losing, and was just like, I've got to do something different. Like, let's see what happens if I release these ghosts. And, be it a giant leap of faith and hoping, the traveler did this on purpose.
yeah. So this next section, I'm less sure about. Uh, Carrying a tower of books. If you recite one title each second, you would not finish before the heat death of the universe. And every year, every day, every minute, its hands add more to the pile. A man
Who
read.
is it?
I think it in this case being like the witness, because
Either the witness or time. Like, I don't.
well, it's a capital I, so it's like proper noun it.
Oh, sure, sure,
And it
sure.
it refers to it previously in the card. It's saying it wants to warn them that it is here, and that's also capitalized. So
Gotcha.
I'm thinking this is still the witness. Adds more to the pile. A man reaches out for one of the books for you, and you want so very badly to reach back, to take his hand and tell him that you must bear it just like he must forever. The memory engraved in quartz, but your hands are full.
What
I'm
the fuck?
I'm not 100% on what this is in reference to. My guess is perhaps the Tower of Books. Each book is a ghost, and
Maybe.
the people reaching out for one of the books is someone being chosen as a guardian. And from the traveler's perspective, it's seeing these being chosen as not a blessing but a curse, and is
Right.
almost like it wants to reach back and tell each guardian like I'm sorry, you're gonna have to live this life now. uh
Oh, sure.
but I don't know like there's a couple things that don't quite add up with that. Like, why are more books being added by the witness?
See, that's the portion that
Like,
makes me. I took this at, like, face value and was like, oh, this is just the knowledge of the universe, and as
sure,
time
yeah,
goes on, more knowledge is being added, experience is being added, like, history is being made, like, even now in the present time, like, we are yesterday was history technically, so, like, it I was thinking of it in terms of just a straight, just, like, knowledge and stuff like that. But the fact that you mentioned it is capitalized, and it seems to every time the traveler refers to it is the traveler is referring to the witness.
Yeah.
Um, or maybe the winnower,
Oh, maybe. That could be.
maybe
That could
because
be.
spoiler alert, the winnower is a real thing and it's not the witness. We're gonna learn more of that when we do our raid episode.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, it maybe because we do know that the witness declared itself the winnower, but maybe the traveler hasn't quite made the distinction, or maybe the traveler knows that there's more to the witness than at face value and knows that there's a hand guiding it.
I think the Traveler would. Like, the Traveler was
It would
around
have
for the
to.
precursor race that became the witness. I have to think it would
Right.
know that, like, there's
What the winnower is.
right, yeah.
Because
Especially if we're assuming Traveler is Gardener, then it would be it would have an intimate
yeah.
knowledge with who its counterpart is.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, I don't fuck dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is an odd entry.
Yeah, this one is interesting. I'm not exactly sure what the takeaway is. The fact that it's post collapse but pre Gaul, the only thing I can think of is this is the ghosts being released and guardians being chosen, but it doesn't 100% line up.
Sure.
Uh so the next one, you are a prisoner. This is 100% Gaul.
That's all.
Gaul
That was too
imprisons the traveler, like, and screams at he screams at you to share your gift. You would not give it to anyone who thought of it as a gift. It is a
yeah.
burden, a terrible weight that you've already asked too many to be crushed by. At this bit, you could say all this and more, but you do not. So that implies the traveler could have communicated either with Gaul or the speaker, but chose not to.
That's a ball. It's a ballsy move.
Yeah, I guess I am not 100% sure of what the reason for that would be, other than just like, well, they're not gonna believe me anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Could just be like a giant middle finger, right? Like,
Could be like, I'm not talking to you. Like,
yeah.
no.
That's I mean, it's if the traveler has as much sentience and stuff as obviously we were seeing here, like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I don't know, man.
The other one I take as being uh, Savathun's resurrection and the traveler thinking back on the hive. Um, so you're reaching over a chasm into which countless paths feed like arteries. You're trying to reach people on the other side, but cannot bridge the gap alone. There's no one to communicate. Like, there is no speaker for the krill kind of thing. You watch them turn one after another to walk down into the abyss until it consumes them entirely. You are as surprised as anyone else when one of them wanders back to the path, still reeking of decay, and reaches back to you. I
Interesting.
I see
I didn't even
this.
think of that. I now listening to it with the
Yeah.
point of view of like this could be Savathun and the hive gaining the light. Like, yeah, that's
That is my
wow.
thought. I could see this going two ways. One, it's the krill turning to the worms, turning to the deep, the dark, whatever, and Savathun being that first one to like come back from that
Yeah.
path.
Yeah,
Uh
absolutely.
I could also see an argument that this is Guardians starting to mess with darkness.
Sure. I my first thought was of again taking some of these things at literal, but I think that I don't know that we can take anything at literal face value with stuff from the traveler because it does speak in abstract like um but my first thought was like a literal chasm. I'm like, okay, well, where's a chasm where people have gone down into? Oh, the Hellmouth. Where did somebody come back up? Oh, Eris came back. Okay, yeah. So maybe this is talking about the events of Crota.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
But I'm starting to lean more and more towards the idea of Savathun and just the hive in general, of like this was a people that was going to be chosen by the light, and then were tricked into the darkness, and then even all these years later, one of them was like, "Is this really what we're meant for? Is this what eternity is supposed to be like? Like, no, this is bullshit. Like,
Right.
okay, well, let's go chase that big white ball down. That thing's got some cool ideas."
Yeah, so I'm prefacing this more. I'm under the assumption this is likely more the reaction it had to Savathun coming back.
Because I mean, everyone was surprised by that.
Yes.
Like, lots of people were pissed, but several people were like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah. And the final one, like you said, that's very clearly the witness taking over and trying to manipulate and use its power. And it is 100% sure. Like this is it. This is the end. I'm done. Uh, I'm trying to reach out. Uh, but it has given up essentially until presumably our guardian finally arrives in the heart and has a means to metaphorically like reach out and say, I want to help you. And the traveler has just enough power to put a sword in that reaching hand. Uh, and we use it to carve the witness out.
I'm telling you, the moment that the sword appeared as a relic, like Myth knows me, I literally every weapon in my power slot is just a sword. And so when that appeared, I was like, "Oh my god!" And Myth was like, "Go get it, go touch the thing. I know you want to." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go!" So yeah, I love that a sword is the artifact. And again, to remember, this is uh the the guardian's final weapon at our grave.
Yeah. According
So
to the
yeah,
corridors
it's
of time, at least.
yep. So like it's we obviously now it's been inserted into time. Like now it exists. That's it's kind of like a foreboding thing. Like it's cool. We got this thing. Shit. That means that the corridors of times might be more real than we even gave credit to it before, and we are going to die. And this is going to be the weapon that is laid at our grave.
Though, as we are learning in the season, not everything pulled from the
There's
corridors
some.
of time is
There's
being
some.
pulled from our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a whole episode on the season because Echoes is story wise. Echoes is hitting some beats that like I'm not even sure where this is heading.
uh, yeah. So that brings us on to the last exotic weapon, which is microcosm. Uh, and this one is interesting, in that it is seemingly the birth of humanity, or I guess life, either in the universe or on the planet. Uh,
Well, microcosm is a word. I'm gonna make you Google it.
so I already have it.
Damn it.
Microcosm is a individual or community, thought of as a miniature universe or a world, in and of itself. Um, so microcosm in this way, I think, is referring to the microscopic world that is taking place on I'm assuming Earth, as like life is literally forming at the microbial level.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot of like temperature readings and stuff in this. I'm not gonna bother too much with that. Um, but the flavor text on it says, "We all owe our existence to one singular moment long ago." And the first reads, say temperature -65, weather, dust storm, humidity, wind. So and that says time passes, metal corrodes, dust jams, decay, decay, decay. And then later on, temperature has decreased further, weather has cleared, changes in humidity and carbon dioxide, and it says to alter the nature of an entire world is no small thing. Mortal hands struggle to effect it. Cyanobacteria, little toilers of the deep seas, take millions of years of sun's light to make the simplest most necessary of changes, oxidation. And in the next one, we see the temperature has raised significantly. The weather is foggy, humidity is high, carbon dioxide has raised slightly. But there is a tipping point, a great explosion. Once achieved, there is a moment of balance. The rest flows freely and easily, faster and faster, as that which is built mounts and mounts and mounts. Atmosphere condenses, heat no longer escapes, rain falls, and bacteria born in a single lightning strike become multi-celled organisms, and on and on and on, green and bright and growing. The next entry, temperature has significantly increased to negative 10 Celsius. Humidity is about 50, cloudy weather, 50% carbon dioxide and dropping rapidly. That is what it is for. That is the purpose. That moment of transformation and creation, of opening what was closed, of the first rain falling on untouched dirt. In that split second, there is potential. There's the beginning of every life that will ever call this place home. From the singularity of the tipping point, a magnitude of futures spiraling outward forever. And in the last entry, temperature is now 17 Celsius. It is raining. The atmosphere is now 20% oxygen, 80% nitrogen, with trace amounts of others. And the final line is, what a privilege to witness you. At that time and at that place, as you turn your shielded faces up to the falling rain. And that's the end of that one.
Who is this? I, clearly Earth, obviously, but whose perspective is writing this?
That is unclear. If
Is this the traveler? Is this the garden? It's got to be the gardener.
I'm kind of a couple mindsets. The fact of like, this one moment of explosion causes all of these possibilities to unfold makes me think Gardner, because that's kind of
Yeah,
their deal.
that's their deal.
Um, yeah, and I'm kind of like, if we go the witness, because they say what a privilege to witness you. Um, like the witness has been around since very early in the creation of the universe. Like
But
they
there's no way they watched Earth evolve over
right, and
billions
that
of
that's
years.
kind of the
Well,
thing.
I say that like they live for eons, so they could have watched it,
But
but
why would
why would
they?
they?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What's the purpose in that? They were too enthralled with like the what is our purpose? They're not gonna look at another planet, you know, possibly galaxies away and go, huh, neat. They have single celled organisms. Let's watch them evolve.
Now here's a thought, kind of a scary thought. What if Earth was one of the planets terraformed by the precursors
Oh shit.
before they went down the path of becoming
When they
the
had the
witness?
gardener's gift. Oh shit.
I mean, maybe.
Shit. Maybe we were just a thought experiment for them. Mother.
They set the seeds of life and let it
Shit,
do its
myth.
thing, and then got wrapped
Shit.
up in their own shit later on and forgot about us.
Damn it, myth.
Now, there's nothing specific to point to that, but
I know,
it's a
but that's a
possibility.
possibility. It's not an impossibility because we know that they had the ability to do such. We saw it in the Entelechy lore book. Like they were messing around with gardener powers. Like shit, myth. Oh my god. Yeah, because why would they have stayed in their own system? Like if they had the ability. Damn it, myth.
maybe
That's
maybe they're
that's
precursors to more than just the witness.
god damn it.
Oh.
Maybe that's why we can wield light and dark.
I mean, who knows? You start to enter the realm of like,
That's what I'm saying. Like this is spin foily hat
yeah.
territory. Like, damn it, myth. Why you do this?
All right. Well, with that, that is the last of the exotic weapons.
Thank
Uh,
God.
so now we get into some of the legendary weapons.
Real quick, I also thought of microcosm in the sense of like Destiny is its own microcosm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it exists in its own little, existence, and like,
It is its own universe. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was a neat little like positive thing there. But now I'm just stuck on this idea that like the witness created humanity and we're just a thought experiment. Like, god damn it.
uh,
Okay, legendaries then.
Legendaries. So yeah, we get into the legendary weapons. These are the weapons that you can get in the Pale Heart that all have like that playing card motif on them. The two images of a particular character in like upside down and right side up. Um, so the first one we're going to touch on here is the hand cannon called Bold Endings. And this is another one that has a little description from Cade, and is a moment in time for Cade's history. And I think we'll find a lot of these touch on like a memory from somebody. Uh, and so this one, the flavor text says, if you have any say in how you go out, make it bold. And the card reads, all they had left of Andal Brask was his cloak. Shiro 4 rubbed the fabric between his fingers and wished he still had skin to feel its texture. Do you remember what it was like? He asked Cade 6, touching things with human hands. You are human, Cade answered in a voice, as if grinding out the words through teeth he also did not have. That was the last thing he and Shiro spoke of. It was the last time he and Shiro spoke of being exos for a long time. They reminisced instead about the man who had just died his final death, remembered the triumphant sound of his laugh, calculated his gambling debts and who among his friends would need to pay them, fantasized about whether or not he kept a secret lover in the city and what that person might be like. Andal wasn't the type to keep secrets of the heart, Shiro said. You know that. He lived boldly, loved boldly. Cade raised his bottle, died boldly. Shiro drank to that, saying nothing of what they could or could not taste, or whether they could or could not get drunk. But when Cade wrapped Andal's cloak around himself, Shiro at least knew it wasn't because he was cold. Shiro grinned. Looks good on you. Cade responded, well, it better, 'cause it ain't ever coming off. And that's the end of that one.
We always think of Cade in the sense of the hunter vanguard, like the guy leading the hunters, um, or the happy go lucky, um, fun side of the Vanguard 3. Um, but like you never really think of Cade as like pre Vanguard. Like he was just a dude before all this. Like, yeah, he was obviously clearly really good friends with Andal. Um, and so for this to be um for him to like put the cloak on and go, yep, this is what it is. Like it's a incredible sign of respect, as well as like this newfound thing of responsibility to like take on, um to be the new hunter vanguard. But yeah, it's ugh, these are good reads, man. I'm gonna be crying this whole episode. This is good, man. This is a good like touchy feely one. Um, I do like that thought of like even the exos are like, man, I can't feel things.
Yeah.
I don't have teeth. I don't know if I can actually get drunk. I can't taste things.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought that I don't think, at least I don't typically think about when it comes to exos. The like
Yeah,
they don't have skin to feel things in the same way that humans do.
Like
Uh,
they don't even technically breathe, but
right.
like
Their body
their
goes through the
body
cycles of breathing, but they don't need to.
just and I think that's another one of those like DER preventative things
Yes.
of
Yes.
like your the exo body does things that it doesn't have to do. There's no purpose behind it other than don't let the brain short circuit and think it's dead.
Yeah, is essentially what it is. Um, but yeah, so just a cool little moment there.
I
This
liked
one
it.
was kind of interesting,
Well,
and
and real
gives
quick, what's the? Do you know what the faces are on that one? I'm trying to figure out if the faces tie up. For some reason, I remember that the faces on the. This is the stasis hand cannon, right? The
yep,
two burst one.
yep.
I think that one is Elsie's face.
Uh, so yeah, and now that I think about it, it might be Elsie or it might be Shiro.
Oh, okay, sure.
But yeah,
Because
it's
I'm trying to
an
figure out if like the
exo.
faces are tied to
Yeah.
the memory that's on them.
Which looking at the others, at least one of the other ones does for sure. So that might be
Okay,
Shiro, not Elsie. But
okay, cool.
yeah, cloaked exo hunter.
Yep.
But so the next one we're gonna go over, which does have her face on it, is actually regarding Lakshmi. And a little piece of Lakshmi's life that we never knew about. Uh, and so this one is titled Someday. It is the shotgun. Uh, and the flavor text is who you are is not who you will always be. And the lore card goes like this. During the Dark Age, survivors sat vigil over the dead. Many would fashion stone circles in the shape of the traveler and lay their loved ones at the center, waiting prostrate for ghosts that never came. When it was time to move forward, the living stacked those same stones atop the dead. Dirtied hands tied messages to each grave's marker, tattered epitaphs of devotion, bravery, and sacrifice, abandoned to twist mournfully in the breeze. They read things such as refused medicine so others could live, or knew about the minefield, insisted on crossing first. Another, only 16, he lived a boy but died a man, protecting his family from the fallen. Lakshmi, too, had read too many such elegies to remember them all, but the ones she had written stayed with her. There was the father who went back for his children, only for all three to be crushed underfoot by a walker. The old woman captured by the House of Devils, tortured, and then shot dead when she refused to reveal the location of her settlement. The child that starved to death before given the opportunity to accomplish anything, but whose mother had insisted that Lakshmi at least try. And so Lakshmi had wrote, "A child sleeps here, leaving her mother only with hope she might someday wake." Hundreds of years after she had positioned the last stone atop a grave, in her final moments of life, Lakshmi wondered if the Vex would leave enough of her to bury, and what, if anything, would be written on her behalf. She would have never expected an Elixni called Namrask to request a visitation with her crumpled remains. She would have laughed, incredulous, to learn that he sat by her side for hours in contemplative silence. And finally he had said, "I wish we could have both been better people." And maybe Lakshmi someday would have been, had she known that he had closed her eyes with the tips of his fingers before leaving. And that's the end of that one.
Um, shit. Wasn't ready for that. Okay. Shit. I was not ready for that. Um, okay, so a quick, brief history. Lakshmi, God, I don't even know where to start with this. Holy shit, myth, that like broke me. Thought patterns combine, make sentences. Okay, go. Uh, so Lakshmi 2. I, I'm this is still an unconfirmed but a pretty high level of assumption is some form of Maya Sundaresh.
Yeah, some exo copy of Maya.
Right. And possibly not even the real Maya. Could have been a copy Maya. Like
Right.
again, Maya's story is. I think hopefully, in episode 3 of the current Echoes, we're going to learn more of what is going on with Maya, or some level of understanding of the 227 copies of Maya. Um, Lakshmi for sure was abandoned on Earth by the Neomunians.
Yes.
Um, then at some point in time came to the Vanguard. Like we don't know if there was a memory wipe there. Like why would Lakshmi have not revealed the location of said city all these years,
Yeah.
whatever.
My assumption there is that when they abandoned her on Earth is when she became Lakshmi
That's
2 to like
that's what I'm thinking
save
too. Yep.
the knowledge of Neomuna.
Yep. I am 100 because she's not mentioned as Lakshmi 2 until
Yeah.
being the head of the Future War Cult. Obviously is very integrated with Vex Tech, which again, if she truly is Maya, that makes sense. Like there are some things that would come through
Yep.
a reset. Um, Started running the prediction engine. Fast forward in time, the Elixni are looking for a home. Lakshmi starts looking into it and starts seeing all these visions of like, oh well, they're gonna lead us down the path of hate and or they're gonna ruin everything. They're gonna kill humanity. Uh, with the help of Susathun, Osusris. I forget what
Savathun
we named him.
posing as Osiris, but yeah.
Yes. Um, Opened a Vex portal into the city, and Vex were literally pouring into the city. Like this was during the season of Splicer and the Dark Knight. Um, then was subsequently killed, and so she was very much a hate monger towards the Elixni. She was
Yeah.
not like she was like these things need to go. This is the last humanity city. Like there's no place for him here, type thing. Um, and so for an Elixni to be the one to like essentially write her eulogy or write her final the final saying on her gravestone is odd to say the least. Um, but it also kind of makes sense because Elixni are very, story driven people. So like, I don't know. It in the same sense that it's odd, it also makes sense. It's weird.
Well, and there's a another connection between this particular Elixni and um, Lakshmi. So we have not read this book on air, at least, but I would suggest everyone do so because it's not a bad one by any means. It's not significantly story like driving. It's more just a peek into a little bit of history. But the lore book called Achilles Weaves a Cocoon is
Oh yeah,
talking
the
about
next Weaver.
it is talking about an Elixni that is trying to put aside being a warrior to learn how to weave. I forget what their exact term for it is, but it's like this silk. I think it's egg silk or something like that.
Yep.
Um, to use it to create clothing, to create things. Weave things
To
rather
not be a
than
destroyer, to be a
exactly.
creator. Yep.
Well, in that book, I believe the last chapter, there is a confrontation between Lakshmi and Achilles where Lakshmi recognizes them and essentially says like you may have everyone else here fooled, but I know who you are and what you've done. I and Achilles, once went under uh, the name, or I guess Achilles' true like Elixni name is Namrask, and they
Ah.
were the leader or one of the very prominent destroyers in the Elixni's burning of London,
Yep.
which Lakshmi was there for,
Yep.
and saw this particular Elixni at kind of the front of the offensive, setting fire to buildings, killing civilians, all that stuff. And that moment was a connection point for them, and then years and years later she saw that same Elixni trying to become somebody different, selling, you know, woven goods on the streets of the city, and she couldn't reconcile that. Like, to her, that was a like, you're an imposter, you're pretending to be something you're not.
Right.
um and to have that Elixni be the one that comes to her grave and say, I wish we could have both been better people. I just there's a lot of
That's
weight
okay. That's
there.
I was trying to say I heard the name, but I didn't truly recognize it. But then as soon as you mentioned the burning of London, I was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay. Everything clicked just then, and okay, yeah. This is. I mean, this is very. God, this. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I like it, but at the same time, it's like shit. You know, like I not a this is shit. This is bullshit. More of a like, well, shit. Like,
Yeah. What do I do with this now?
I
Yeah.
know, like you don't. There's no true like. I mean, you always do. You like sometimes life leads you down a path, and sometimes you're just kind of stuck on it. But you've got to be the one willing to make the change. And so for an Elixni here to be like, okay, I'm gonna make a change. It's hard for the people around them to accept that change and to not look at him, and especially in this sense, as the face of a murderer, of a killer, of a massacre of a city, um, and to be like, okay, yeah, let's turn over a new leaf. Like, it's again, that level of like grudges exist, and they'll push through because they're
Yeah.
emotion driven. So yeah, it's yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel right now. I don't know.
All right. Well, we're gonna do a more wholesome one.
Good.
Uh, so this
You
is
got my
on.
emotions all over the place through this episode. This is ridiculous, myth.
So this will be a more feel good one. This is on. Well, feel good at the time. We're kind of in a weird space now, I suppose. But this is on everyone's favorite kinetic slot sidearm, the Call.
Dude, this
Uh,
that thing slap. Like
it's
I
fun.
again, it's a little slow for me for usage, but holy shit, this thing slaps.
Yeah, but the flavor text on this is just "We go together," and the call is just the image on it is just like a warlock, like a helmeted generic Destiny armor warlock kind of thing. Uh,
It's not the prodigal one, is it?
it might be. Now that you say that, I'm bad about linking the name of the armor set to the look, but it
Sure.
might be the prodigal one. Uh, I'm going to apologize in advance. I was never very good at Saint's voice, but I've not done it in a minute, so it's going to be real bad. Uh, but needless to say, this one is Saint and Osiris, and it goes like this. A wheezy blast of smoke vents out of the gray pigeon's engines. Its thrusters wind down, failing to initialize. When was the last time you had this rust bucket serviced? Osiris wonders aloud, running a hand along the pock-marked side of the jump ship. Better yet, when was the last time you even flew it? Saint 14 shouts indistinctly from the cockpit. Hammering follows, then another weary whine from the engines before a dusty blast of smoke sputters from the exhaust. Osiris makes a soft sound in the back of his throat and ducks under one of the wings. Don't, Saint blurts out as he emerges from the cockpit, stopping Osiris before he can set foot on the stairs. You need a new ship. I say don't, and you still criticize. Saint grumbles, lumbering down the steps. She is a good bird, flies well. It has just been a little while. She is sleepy. Osiris swipes a finger along the hydraulics. She is certainly. She certainly is, he quips while Saint glowers tenderly from nearby. Didn't you have Miss Holiday? He stops and lowers his gaze. Yes. I am not one to easily trust another's hands, Saint says as he approaches Osiris, lacing their fingers together. And I have not had time to maintain the ship myself. Osiris leans into the touch and presses his free hand to Saint's breastplate. But I have to be ready to answer Zavala's call when the time comes. Osiris shakes his head, looking up into Saint's eyes. We answer that call together. I will not leave you aside to wander off into another dimension without me again. His hand at Saint's chest curls into a fist. Never again. Saint wants to fight, but it is one battle he knows he will not win. Instead, he lifts the hand he holds to his mouth and presses a kiss to Osiris's knuckles. Never again. And that's the end of that one.
Goddamn right, never again. Dude, it's got me scared. This season has me scared, Myth. They kill him, I'm gonna be pissed.
I don't think he's gonna die.
They can't even give me one. Or no, wait, did I get one? I don't remember if I got one or not. I keep asking for more.
You have Drifter and Eris.
That's right. I get one, and that is it. Next they're gonna kill Drifter or some shit. This is bullshit. This is bullshit, Myth.
Oh.
Stop screwing with my love story, damn it. This is my K-drama.
I don't know if you know this, but by nature of drama being in the name, it means the entire story is screwing with the love story.
Destiny's just one giant K-drama. God damn it. Oh shit. No, this is cute. Like
it's a nice little moment.
The one sad part, you know, where they're like, haven't you had Amanda? And then they're like, oh shit. Like, yeah, it's I think there's another card too that's going to mention it. The Neek, I think is was the apprentice under Amanda. Yeah, I am intrigued to see more and more interactions with him now. Hopefully in the tower and with us too. Like I'd love to see him truly take up the mantle of shipwright. Like, I mean, we've had an official passing of the torch for the Hunter Vanguard. I'd love, even if it's an unofficial passing of the torch to shipwright. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. But so the next one here is the No Hesitation. This is the new healing frame auto rifle.
It's so weird to get shot with healing bullets.
A little bit. It's cool, but it's weird. This just has like a generic Titan helmet on it. It might be their version of like the Prodigal set. But the flavor text says he is the closest thing I will ever have to a son. And the lore card is about Keitel and I guess what is his term now? What is Saladin's term?
Valis
Forge. Okay.
I know it's I never really cared about Iron Banner before, but now that he's like, I don't know, he's like a, I don't know what to call him. Like I don't know what to like reference him as anymore. Like he's just, his story is kind of like evolved, and I kind of like it now.
Yeah, to be clear, I still don't care about Iron Banner the activity, but
that's kind of
I do very much
too.
care about like seeing what happens with Saladin.
Yeah, same Z's.
So needless to say, this one goes like this. Aboard Empress Keitel's flagship, the Eligos Lex V, there is a community space of colorful cloth banners and solemn silence contained within a repurposed hangar bay. At the center of this area is a chunk of land harvested from a royal garden, a piece of the Cabal homeworld, excised in haste on the day that Torbottle fell. 3 gnarled trees, a bed of moss spotted with tall grasses. We're initiating Operation Ahamkara. As Commander Zavala's voice booms over the comms, Empress Keitel rises from the moss and lumbers past gnarled wood, her meditation cut short. She is quick to descend the rocky stairs carved into the side of her fragmented world, past numerous handwritten messages from her people, bound to twisting roots protruding from the soil. Messages to those who are left behind. Pleas for forgiveness, promises of revenge. Empress, there's a palpable tension in Vallis Forge's voice as he hurries into the hangar, breezing past Keitel's tusked honor guard as he does. I heard, Keitel replies. We ready our fleet for the signal to depart. As Vallis, you will lead our ships into the breach the moment the commander gives the all clear. Saladin Forge hesitates. His gaze drifts down, and Keitel sees a foreign moment of vulnerability in him. For a moment, Saladin hears doors slamming shut, sees Lady Jolder's face consumed by fire. Keitel stops beside Saladin, facing away, shoulder to shoulder. For a moment, she too hesitates. Her massive hand gently taps his shoulder. I let him leave again. Keitel feels the weight in Saladin's voice. The specter of Zavala's past haunts this moment beyond the nightmares on the Leviathan. I wasn't there for him when Hakim died, Saladin adds quietly. Keitel watches him as he speaks his truth, looks into his eyes, sees him. She understands. Zavala held on to that guilt like a bleeding wound, she offers. If he should fall, do not repeat his mistakes. It will not be guilt for you. It will be a battle standard you hold aloft for the universe to see. Saladin's gaze does not waver from Keitel's. She sees him. I do not want that day to come. I know, she responds. And that's the end of that one.
Always the warrior. That's the Cabal, even at their hardest of hearts, is always the warrior to me. Like it's yeah, but to see a moment of like what would you call it? Humanism? I vulnerability? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like non warriorness is odd, but connecting. You know, like it I that's the other love story that I think is very slowly playing out is Keitel and Zavala. Um, so yeah, like I like there's a few lines like as you're doing traveler stuff and Pale Heart stuff there where it's like Keitel says something of like I will go where or you know I will follow where he goes or vice versa. Maybe it's Zavala that's saying it or something. I don't remember, but there's something going on between the two of them, and I like it. Like the fact that the final scenes in the cut scenes shows her like trying to knit,
Yeah.
and Valis Forge is just like Valis Forge has a look on his face of like that looks like shit, and Keitel like you can't see Keitel's face because she still has her mask on, but you can kind of see her eyes, and she's very like angry-eyed, focused, like this is gonna be the greatest scarf I ever knit in my life. So yeah, like she every problem a Cabal attacks it with like this warrior's fierceness, and so yeah, like to see this vulnerable side of her is interesting. I like the space described here. It reminds me honestly, and I think this is on purpose. Um, and some Guardians may not even know what this space looked like or how it existed, but the garden in the Leviathan.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that is true Tora bottle architecture that's in there, and I think those plants are true, like Tora bottle plants and stuff like that you had to interact with to get the war beast to kind of like be sated and distracted while you beat the shit out of him with a bunch of swords.
Yeah, and it is an interesting thing. I like this little peek into this space, and almost like Cabal culture in a way at the beginning
Yeah, yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah,
because like they've scooped up a piece of their land, a piece of their homeworld, and people have gone through and tied messages to the roots of like,
yeah.
please for forgive us for leaving you, or we promise to avenge you. And
Because
it
I mean, to be clear, like Tor bottle is toast. Like it is a war moon now, right? Like it
I
is
mean, we don't exactly know, but
right. Like we don't know if there's any survivors there. We don't know anything
right.
of Tora bottle other than the high Zero Wrath attacked it, and it is presumably now a war moon.
Yeah, it is at the very least hive occupied.
Yeah,
Um, but what I think this moment does is there's a couple times in the while you're doing those missions just out and about, uh, where you get some dialogue between Zavala and Keitel, where Zavala is saying like, just stay. Like
yeah,
we're we would love to welcome the our allies into our solar system, like build a home here. And Keitel has said like, I'm not allowed to do that.
yeah.
And she says like, my pride won't allow me to do it. But I also think like
I think Cabal
her whole
culture doesn't
people,
allow her.
right, like her people don't want to find a new home, they want to avenge their old one. uh
Again, that warriors, not mentality, but that warrior state of mind.
yeah, yep, very much so. uh
Just stay, Keidel. I love you. Just say it, Zavala. Just fucking say it.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I think you're reading more into
I
things
am
there.
reading too much into it, but damn it, Zavala, just say it. Just say you love her.
uh
Hate this K-pop drama bullshit.
Again, I don't think that's what's
I
happening.
don't
I
I
may be
don't know
wrong.
why I've turned Destiny into a K-pop drama. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Only you know what's
Only
going on
me.
in your head.
That's only me.
But so the next one we're gonna address here, and it looks like, just looking at time, we're probably only gonna finish weapons and leave armor for its own thing. Uh, but the next weapon we're gonna get to is the Axial Lacuna. This is the pulse, or excuse me, the fusion rifle that has Ikora on it, and it is about Ikora, specifically her and her ghost. Uh, and so the flavor text of this says, archaeologists understand a buried hatchet is still, after all, a hatchet. And the card for it goes like this: for years, 61 years, and either 23 or 19 days, depending on who you ask, Ikora and I did not speak to each other. Now we do, but I don't think we'll ever talk about it. There is little purpose in doing so in any case. I raised Ikora from dust and bone, and ever since, approximately 0.734 seconds after that first brush of light, I have known the type of person she is, and the type of ghost I am to her. We fit. We are both in our ways stubborn. I might have broken the standoff just as well as she, and I chose not to. Ikora began the silence. It was correct that she end it. What purpose is there in the post mortem, in hashing out what went awry and who should have said what and when? When I dissect should have dones, it is only for the benefit of after action reports, for young hidden and new lights first learning to weigh risks and make quick decisions on which lives rest. Ikora and I both already know where any misstep was. Our understanding is deeper even than friendship. So too is it with this. We did not speak, and then we spoke, and it is not as it was. It is something new, although we are something old. there is a hole in the center, not to be touched or defined. Ikora understands this too. We picked up and carried on, and that was enough. I do not envy other ghosts, their guardians, and I would not be so fitted a ghost to any other. Some day, that gap will be smaller than what has grown around it. And so far as everyone else is concerned, there is no fault line, no sign of fracture. A united front in our position is more valuable than a deep emotional honesty. We were friends once. And that's the end of that one.
What do you mean once? Are they just colleagues now? Like,
I kind of think that's the implication here is that there was some disagreement between Ikora and her ghost, who I think his name is like
Orpheus or
yeah, or Orpheus maybe, or something along those lines.
I just know
Uh,
Ophi because like it's a
yeah,
hard one.
yeah. And whatever this disagreement was, caused them to give each other the silent treatment for 61 years.
That's what I was fucked up about. Like they really didn't talk. I mean, I guess to be fair, like even Tarj says it too during the campaign. Is like when he's talking about the statues, he's like they'll say something if they'll speak up if they have something to say. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And so I guess like if a ghost doesn't have something to say, like it's like it's perfectly chill, just like not saying anything. So yeah, I don't know, maybe.
And it's interesting that her ghost here saying like a united front is more valuable than emotional honesty with each other.
Yeah.
So it's this idea of like what's between us, as long as we can work together, doesn't matter because our position requires that we look like an organized unit.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah,
That's a
that
hard train of thought to actually
yeah,
implement. That's a genuine hard thing to implement in any. Again, think of this as like the Vanguard is like a workspace. Like that's a hard thing to truly implement. Um,
saying I think what you said originally kind of boils down to it. That last line, "We were friends once," tells me that they're not anymore, and they probably do see each other purely as colleagues, as like
that's what I think.
we are going to talk about work and nothing else,
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
thing. So
That's what it sounds like. Doesn't Ophi do some? So I swear there's a lore card about him talking about training something or maybe talking to the hidden or something. I don't know. For some reason, I remember Ophi doing like training of some sort, and it struck me as odd thinking about it now that a ghost would be out like training anything. But maybe it was like Ophi was given a class on something or a speech about something. I don't remember. So I'm starting to think more and
yeah,
more that the two of them really are just like colleagues. Like they 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 tolerate each other, but that's about it.
yeah, purely professional relationship.
Yep.
Is the vibe I'm getting. Yeah, I don't recall anything. It's certainly possible. There's plenty of lore cards I've forgotten about. Um,
I could be
but
completely crazy too. I could just be like dreaming this shit up. Like
yeah. So needless to say, just an interesting little window into like Ikora's relationship with her ghost.
the top level warlock vanguard
Yeah.
and leader of all hidden and her counterpart.
Yep. Uh, but no. So the next weapon we're going to go over is the Pro Memoria, which is the machine gun, and I believe it has Zavala on it. Is certainly about Zavala, kind of giving us the last Vanguard member weapon focused memory here. And this one is about the dealings between Zavala and Tarj during the death of Hakim. And the flavor text on it is, "I'm with you, old man, whether you like it or not." And the lore card goes like this: Tarj looked up at the sky above, a swirl of stars encircling the traveler. They seemed so remote and untouchable, despite the pine trees stretching up in jagged spikes toward them. They, at least, were touchable. He let out a sigh. He had taken to doing so not because he breathed, but because his guardian used it as a blanket emotional response. Sometimes the ticks of loved ones stick like pine sap. It drips off the tree and onto an unsuspecting shell. Dust settles in, and nothing can quite clean it off again. He heard the muffled voices from inside the cabin. Tarja's thoughts wandered back to the gun. The moments stretched on for an eternity. He would have sacrificed everything to give Zavala what he asked for. He would have taken 1,000 bullets. He would have gladly met his end if it meant the boy could live again. Why not? He asked, looking up at the traveler. You make the rules. I'm here for him. I'd do anything for him. Why am I powerless? And there was, as always, no answer. Many, many lifetimes later, Tars looked up at the sky above, at a swirl of stars that were not stars, clouds that were not clouds, and something was missing. He almost chuckled at the thought of the traveler having a smaller traveler hanging somewhere up in its made up atmosphere. It seemed like an oversight. He heard the campfire crackle as somber yet hopeful voices behind him shared their triumphs and pain. If anything inside the traveler was real, it was those voices, the bonds of tender love, infinite longing, and fierce loyalty, radiating more intense warmth than the campfire itself. He sighed. Even here, the trees dripped sap. And that's the end of that one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that yeah. I don't know that Tarsh has spoken since that moment.
Certainly not to us.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even think he's spoken to Zavala. Like I think Tarsh has been silent for a very, very long time. And the first time that he's actually talked is there in the like when he's trying to hunt down Zavala and like, hey, what did you people do with him? Not fully understanding that like Zavala's trying to figure something out. Like Zavala heard something and is trying to follow a lead.
Yeah. I mean, possible. We certainly don't have anything that says otherwise, as far as I know.
I do like. Why is there not a little baby traveler inside
Yeah.
the traveler?
Yeah, that got a chuckle out of me when I read it. It's like, oh yeah, make it mirror our, our vision of the sky. Like there should be another little
Yeah,
ball right about there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but is it?
You know, I'm gonna start hunting a skybox down and seeing if there is one.
Yeah, you never know. But it is interesting to think, and we kind of knew that like the ghost didn't have any answers either, and it's not
Yeah,
that he didn't resurrect Hakim because he didn't want to. He
he
truly
couldn't.
couldn't and
Yeah,
didn't even know why he couldn't. He just couldn't.
that level of powerlessness is it's frustrating.
Fine. So, the last one that we're going to do for this episode, and we are, I guess, going to do armor as their own thing.
Yay! I did it, Biff.
But the last one is the legendary sword False Idols. And I don't 100% remember, but I think this has Drifter on it. The story is certainly about Drifter. And the flavor text for it is "Lay unto me your burdens." And the card goes like this: There is a single jade coin marked with the silhouette of a pyramid ship. Keep playing the game. The emissary of the Nine's voice haunts Drifter, a voice that once belonged to Orin. Standing on the bridge of the helm, he can't hear the ship's running noise or the chatter of navigation frames. All he can hear is, The furrow in your brow reveals you. Eris comes to stand beside Drifter at the windows, their muted reflection pale in the comparison to the magenta light spilling from the triangular wound. Yeah, I bet it does, Traveler grouses, rolling the coin over the backs of his fingers. So why'd you hide yours, eh? He hides his worry behind a toothy smile. No. Eris reaches out and takes Drifter's hand. Calloused fingers brush across his knuckles. He tenses for a moment and then relaxes at the touch. She deftly plucks the coin away from his palm, regarding it with mild curiosity. He feels lighter without it. Cryptic non answers are not a useful totem for you to carry into the future, she asserts, pocketing the coin. Drifter cocks an eyebrow. Think you got something better? Eris watches his expression in the reflection. Indeed. A ray of moonlight, and nothing more. And that's the end of that one.
Kettle meat pot. Cryptic metaphor. What does that mean? I don't know. Cryptic metaphor. That's yeah. The two of oh, yay! I get one,
You
and
get
this is
you
it,
get one.
and it's fine. I will accept it. I swear to God, if they kill either one of these, I will lose my shit.
So yeah,
I like it. I like it.
it's a fun one. I mean, we've seen their relationship grow throughout the last like year or two, and it just
Yeah,
yeah.
it does make me giggle to think that like even like the way it was described here made me think that like Eris could hear his brow furrow from like across the ship.
Hey, you know
Maybe.
someone well enough, like
Yeah.
yeah. But it's interesting that she has now like taken his gambit coin and has essentially like, nope, you don't need that anymore,
That
and
is funny.
has pocketed it herself. And he describes like feeling like a weight has been lifted. Yeah.
Yeah. Something to be shared between two, like the to share the burden together.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, I get one, and this is it. I'm going to keep this. I swear to God, if they take it away from me, I'll be pissed.
uh but so that is where we're going to end for this episode. We're going to go over the exotic and legendary armors from the final shape next episode, and then after that we'll get into the raid stuff. I But sometimes it's nice just to take a step back and kind of see all the little stories that make up the Destiny universe, that give it as much character as like the big story beats. So
Absolutely. These are some of the things that keeps that I mean again things like Shayura's and stuff like that, the Kentark group, like all those little stories that are happening in the background that we don't see. It makes to know that those stories are still being told makes this universe feel more alive, and I
really
really like
does.
it. Really
Absolutely.
like it.
So
All right, well, let's do some shout outs then.
yeah, we got a few working through our list, our backlog yet. That keeps getting added to, which is not a bad
Yeah.
thing, but yeah, we've got a few here. So the first one comes to us from Indie Scout via Twitter, who says, I was thinking if you guys wanted to take a break from lore, you could talk about the possibilities of a Destiny TV show and their cast.
Oh my
I
God.
love the origin of the Awoken and could see. They say they could see Sigourney Weaver as Mara, Tom
I
Hiddleston as Aldrin,
Okay, I have some thoughts here on this casting.
Ming-Na Wen as Alice Lee. He goes in an off the wall idea, but I'd be interested to know your opinions of a Destiny TV show and who the cast might be.
Two of those I can agree with. The problem I have with Sigourney Weaver as Mara, um, Mara and Uldren are twins, therefore their casting has to resemble that.
Mm,
I
that's
love
yeah.
Sigourney Weaver to pieces. I loved her in Aliens. I loved her in oh, what was the other one? I'm trying to think of the other space movie that's a comedy. Oh, with Tim Allen and Alan Rickman.
So asking me about movies, you're gonna get
I
nothing.
know this is a lost cause. Galaxy Quest, that's what it was. I loved her in stuff like that. Like I do love Sigourney Weaver as an actress. It doesn't fit. Like if you're gonna have Tom Middleton, you got to have somebody the same age as Tom Middleton. I do like either Tom Middleton or oh god, what's Loki?
That is Tom Hiddleston.
Is that Tom
Yes, that
Middleton?
is
Who am
Tom
I thinking
Hiddleston.
of them?
I don't know.
I think I'm thinking of Spider Man. Who's Spider Man?
Oh, fuck. Why am I gonna blank on his name now?
I thought that was Tom Middleton. Maybe am I just dumb, Myth?
Tom Holland is Spider-Man.
Tom Holland. See,
Yeah.
that's where the connection is. I got the Tom right. I didn't, and then okay, okay. In that sense, yeah, I could see Sigourney Weaver and I'm being poked now in the back of the head and saying Loki is Hiddleston, you dumb idiot. So yeah, so now in that sense, thinking of it from that point of view, I was so convinced that Tom Middleton is Spider Man, but no, now thinking it from that sense, I could see Sigourney Weaver and Tom being the Hiddleston.
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 Yeah.
See, I'm bad with names. I suck
Now
so
I
bad.
think there still is kind of a age
There's a little bit of an
disparity
age
though.
difference there.
Well, a little like a 30-year age
Yeah,
difference.
yeah, that's true. But I mean, CGI can work some wonders, right?
Sure, sure. Uh yeah, I don't I guess I haven't really thought too much about it. Like I said, I am not a moviegoer or a TV show
I just don't know
watcher. I don't
who would make a good
have
Mara.
most of that knowledge that some people do. Um from the very few actresses I do know, um I could see and I'm probably gonna butcher her name, Charlize Theron
Oh,
as
sure.
Amara.
She could
Based
have some sass to her, but still have some like regalness about her. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Meryl Streep. If you could get a younger Meryl Streep, can we just turn back time a little bit
yeah, yeah,
and
of
get a
course.
younger Meryl Streep? Like that would be fucking amazing. I'd watch Meryl Streep as Mara.
But
I
yeah,
don't know, man.
I do think like Tom Hiddleston is a pretty spot on
That's a good
idea
one.
for Aldrin though. Like
That is fantastic, and I do like the choice for Alice Lee as well. And I think we had to look this up, but I think she might have been the voice actor or the live actor for the Mulan.
uh I am not sure if she yes. Yeah, yes. She was in
The live actor or the voice actor for the original.
now you're going to make me look up the IMDb.
Yay! More googling on Myth's part.
She was the
Guess who's getting
voice
thanked
for the
today?
1998 Mulan.
Okay, yeah, I could see her, and I think she was also in Final Fantasy movie too.
Yeah, Spirits Within.
Uh, yep. So yeah, I could definitely see I could see her as the captain there. Like I mean, truly, those are really the only ones we have. Like I mean, we could go through like Petra and
Go through the whole cast, yeah.
Shiro Chi. No, Shiro Ido. God damn it, I did it again. Yeah. So I mean, like I mean, there's some ideas there, but like yeah, as far as like the main two, Tom Hiddleston, that's a perfect Aldrin. Like, I mean, Loki and Aldrin have the same mentality there, like of kind of being not a full on trickster or anything, but like they're very rogue like, and yeah, I think that's a good fit. I don't know on Mara though. Young Meryl Streep is what I
Yeah.
like. She has the royalness about her and could still give a sassiness to it.
I think for
CGI
me,
can only do so much, right?
yeah, I think for me for Mara, I'm again with my very little knowledge kind of going between I'm leaning more towards that Charlize Theron. I'm just
I
thinking
do like
about
that
like
though.
her and Mad Max
Yeah, yeah,
was yeah, granted not a whole lot of like speaking parts but had could bring that kind of intensity. Um
yeah. Because and Mara doesn't like thinking of like early Mara. She doesn't say much, but she
Right.
has this level of intensity about her. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah. I say the other like maybe, but I think is not as well suited would be like a Natalie Portman. I
Yeah.
just thinking about, some of the roles she has had that have been more on the like dramatic side.
Well, I'm thinking of pushing it more towards like the royal side, right? Like I could see that.
Yeah. So I
But
don't
it's got
know.
to be a good mix, right? Like it's got to be a
Right.
good mix of
Right.
like
Right.
royal and presence, but also like sassy and like know it
Confidence.
all,
Yeah.
confidence. Yeah, 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 yep, yep. Because again, Mara, that's the whole reason why the Ahamkara couldn't feed on her because she is so sure of herself and her actions that like the space between that which could be and that which is a null point.
Right.
So the Ahamkara has nothing to feed on there.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, thank you. This is a fun little thought experiment.
Fun little thought experiment.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And I do hope that we see. I mean, we've seen Halo for as not good as that was in my opinion, but it existed
It
for a
did.
time.
It exists. It
Uh.
exists.
So
We
like
could see some of these little stories play out.
I
We
would
know they've
love to
done
see
live action
Destiny.
for Destiny. Every trailer to the main entries have been live action. That's the prodigal that I mentioned there. Those are the three.
Yeah.
There's a warlock set that's like the prodigal something or another, and I don't remember what the name of the hunter and the titan set are, but the name of it's like prodigal vest and prodigal
Yep.
helm or some shit like that.
Yep.
But that is the armor that the original like the very very first live action where they're like on the moon and there's like a footprint through Neil Armstrong's and they're like, man, I hate aliens, no respect. And they're like, play something classic, and then they play Led Zeppelin
Yeah.
as they're attacking the moon with Galahorn, which still feels out of place as well because you're like, that didn't come until Vault, whatever. It's fine. So yeah, but those are, I could see a live action there.
Yeah, I think Destiny would lend itself very well to a animation. Um,
Oh
get
sure,
give me a Castlevania but Destiny, and I'd eat that shit up.
yeah, yeah.
But
Arcane,
live
what
action
was
would be cool too,
Arcane?
or Arcane. Yes,
Was that the
even
other
more
one I'm
so.
thinking of? The League of
Uh,
Legends one?
yep, yep.
Yeah,
If
I could
you
see that.
if you could take that as like Castlevania, very good. Arcane is on this whole other echelon of like animated media. If you could make anything even close to that in the Destiny universe, you're set your price essentially.
Vox Machina. I could see that too.
Yeah. So
The
lots of
animation.
good studios they could use. But I think I think live action is a possibility. What I'm afraid of is that it's really hard with live action in sci-fi to not come across, especially with all the things involved in Destiny, to not come across as like cheesy, you know?
Sure.
Like there are moments of levity for sure in Destiny, but for the most part, it's kind of a like these are very serious themes that need to be treated seriously.
Sure.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I hope we see something someday.
I mean, they got the money of Sony, and they got Sony Pictures. Like they're just right there.
Next shout out, and this is a long one, so this will probably be our last one for this episode. Um, Comes to us from Dredgen Kane, also on our
Oh.
Twitter. Uh, Multi-part kind of question here. Says, with all the speaker lore this season, I've been going back through and listening to your Saint and Osiris videos to recap on what the speaker was like. This has led me to realize just how territorial the speaker seemed about his power in the city.
Oh yeah.
Had the speaker survived, do you think that he would have eventually tried to exile the Guardian from the city like he did with other influential people who brought quote unquote dangerous ideals into the walls, such as Osiris, Ulantan, and Toland? Our Guardian is more action orientated versus verbal, but we have done many things that could be called dangerous or heretical by the speaker's standards. Hanging with Drifter, hunting down Aldrin against orders, learning stasis, etc. Could our rise in influence plus our actions have caused him to turn on us were he still here? Or would he have adapted to things like Zavala? So
I
I
I don't I don't know. On the one hand, I was instantly like, "Oh yeah, dude, he would have told
right,
us to fuck
yeah.
off, dude." Like, I mean, he told Osiris to fuck off, and Osiris was just like, "Hey, the Vex are a problem," and like that was like that was the entirety of why he got like Osiris got thrown out. They were like, "Hey, the Vex are a problem. We need to look into this," and then that escalated from there. Spoiler alert, the Vex are still a problem, and we
Yeah.
still haven't dealt with them. Like now they're becoming even more of a problem by gaining like individuality, and like we don't want that. That's a bad thing. We can deal with them as a hive mind collective. Individuality for a Vex is a whole new level of like I don't know what the fuck to do with this. But yeah, definitely like I mean the idea of us using stasis or darkness or I mean I'm pretty sure the speaker was also one that funny to come from somebody that names himself Dredge and Kane. The speaker I'm pretty sure was not too happy about the Dredgens um series of events there.
Yeah, no.
Um so yeah, I don't know, man. I think that the speaker would maybe be open. I don't know because I mean, you think of all the events. Like, what would the speaker have done to see Savathun in the tower?
Right.
Like, what would the speaker have done in the sense of like, hey, you weren't the first chosen race, and now that I've again thinking from the point of view of the traveler of like, hey, now that I've done my little thought experiment of ghost work, well, let's try to go back to a race that I was going to help before and give it to them. It's also odd that we don't see Ghost Elixni or
Guardian
Guardian
Elixir?
Elixni
Yeah.
rather. Like the Elixni wield the light through splicing, but like what if I mean because if anyone's shown a level of devotion and
Right.
self-sacrifice, it has been the Elixni. They literally followed this thing from their home planet, abandoned their home, and was like, we want to follow you. But I mean maybe they just haven't hit their redemption level yet. So yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
like I don't know what a live speaker current day would look like. I mean, the closest we have is Micah.
Right. And well, the difference here is the speaker that we hear about in game in the lore cards isn't always conducive with the speaker that's portrayed in the comics. Like the
Sure,
speaker in the comics, I think, is very much more like wants the seat of power. Things should be the way they say, and maybe that's coming from a place of like we need to hold things together and like we need to
it
follow a clear path, otherwise we'll just dissolve this little city that's just
sure
starting.
it could be that, or it could be from a point of frustration, right? Because we know that
Sure.
towards the
Yeah.
end, the traveler kind of stopped speaking.
Right.
Like, so it could be from a level of like, look, I used to have some sort of semblance of an answer, and now I'm getting nothing, and people are coming to me asking for clarity or whatever, and I have nothing to give them other than what I've been feeding them the last, X number of years. So yeah, I don't know. Like I could go either way.
Yeah. But uh I'm kind of the mindset personally that they would have a real hard time with it at first, at least, and maybe they'd be
Sure.
forced to adapt, but I don't think they would be happy with us, at least initially.
I think the world would honestly be an incredibly different space
Yeah.
if the speaker had survived Gaul's attack. Like I don't know, man. Like I mean, looking at like Forsaken, like I don't know that we would have been like okay, the Hunter Vanguard died. Like would the speaker have just been like, okay, yeah, just go do whatever. That's fine.
Right.
I think that would have possibly like been the first like, hey, you're a rogue agent. Like we need to hunt you down and kill you now. Like
Yeah. Something.
again looking at the Dredgens, like we need to hunt you down and kill you. You need to be you are a thorn, like you need to be removed. Like yeah, it's like somebody who just goes rogue and vigilante is not somebody that can be um I don't want to say ruled over, but is not somebody that can be told like, hey, we have a code of conduct and a set of
Right.
guidelines here, like please follow this, like follow the law. It's yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tough one.
It is. But I say thank you for posing these are fun questions to
I
think
love
about for
these.
sure. So thank you for that, and thank you for listening. And if you liked what you heard here today, you want to support us in some way, just leaving a review or a star or whatever rating on your platform of choice goes a long way. Tell any of your lore inclined friends about our show. Maybe they would like to hear some of it as well.
Annoy
Uh,
your fire teams during raids.
yeah. Take our approach. Um, Say if you feel strongly enough that you want to send something in, you can leave like a text review, or you can reach us on Twitter at Myths and Stories, email mythsandstories@gmail.com, or now on YouTube, youtube.com/at Myths and Stories, and you may see yourself as a future shout out.
Well, originally I was going to thank K dramas, um, but now I'm thanking Google.
Yeah.
Thank you for making Myth's job a little easier while I make it harder.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, K dramas. I kept saying K-pop dramas, but in my head it's like K-pop and K-dramas, and you know how my brain works. It's now connected to the two. They
Uh-huh.
are now K-pop dramas. Now I imagine like K-pop boy bands having drama in them. Yeah, nope, I'm done. I quit.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. Anything else then, Myth?
that's it.
Alrighty. Well, from all of us lore daddies to all of you guardians out there, we'll see you next time.
You found your people. Guardians do love their myths and stories.